Hey everybody, good morning or good afternoon whenever you're watching this. Here's a quick overview of Lesson 8-2 on Thinkcentral. Key concept here is working with liquid volume and in the metric system. So volume is the amount of matter that's inside an object or the amount of liquid that a container can hold. So you'll see here you have your place value chart showing you the conversions between, for example, kiloliter and liter. Again, you go back to the King Henry doesn't usually like chocolate milk type conversion. From small to large, you multiply. Now, from small to large, you divide. From large to small, you convert by multiplying by the conversion factor. So study that chart. If you need extra help, you can watch the videos that were posted on our Google Math Classroom. Remember, large to small, you multiply. Going from a smaller unit to a larger unit, you divide. Here's a picture of me in the classroom. My hands are out wide. I'm showing large. My hands cross over, and that is reminding me to multiply. If my hands are small, very close together, and I move them apart, basically I make a division sign with my body. So small to large, divide. Getting to the first few problems on the page, I've drawn my place value chart right here. The reason I do that is because if you just plot the number, for example, number 1, you have 49 and liters, and you're changing that to milliliters over here. So basically, you have a decimal point right here. All you're doing is you're going from liters, which is a large unit, to milliliters, which is a small unit. So I'm moving that decimal place 3 times to the right and annexing zeros, and that gives me a conversion of 49 liters is equal to 49,000 milliliters. Same idea with problem number 5. I decided just to do a couple of the odd problems, and I do every one of them. So I start with centiliters, which is right here, and I basically put that number into my centiliter plot. So I have 483. I usually work backwards, so I make sure that I have the numbers in the right spot. So I have 483 centiliters. And now I'm going to change that number or convert that number into kiloliters. So here's my decimal point right here. And I'm changing it from centiliters. So to go from centiliters to liters, I move it over twice. And now to go to kiloliters, I move it over 3 times because that's dividing by 1,000. So basically I'm dividing by 100,000 to move from this place all the way over to this place. So the answer should be 0.00483, but we'll check that. Well, it looks like I was wrong on that because I did the wrong thing. So mistakes are acceptable and encouraged because it builds mastery. So again, I'm going to go with 483 centiliters, but I'm not changing it to kiloliters, I'm changing it to liters. So I'm only moving my decimal place 2 spaces over, making it 100 times smaller. So 483 divided by 100 would be 4.83. Problem number 9, I have 1,992. I place the number in my place value chart, 1,992 milliliters, and I'm changing it to liters. So I'm going from this place to this place, and I skip 1, 2, and 3 decimal places. So I go 1, 2, and 3. So I find that 1,992 milliliters is the same as 1 and 992 thousandths liters. And if you did any other work, I thought I'd just show you the answer. So check your work. I got these 2 right. This one I got wrong because I didn't unpack the problem, but I learned from my mistake. If you did any other work, those are the correct answers. So these problems are a little bit harder. I picked number 13 because they're multi-step problems and it's pretty hard to do. So you have to unpack them very carefully and draw models and equations and algorithms and label the answer. Morgan has a juice glass. It holds 225 milliliters. Make sure you're understanding this milliliters. She uses the glass to drink 8 glasses of water every day. So in total, she's drinking 8 glasses that each hold 225 milliliters. how many liters of water does she drink during a week. So there's a few things going on here. I have to change, first I have to figure out how many glasses she drinks in a day. Then I have to figure out how many glasses then she drinks for the week. And then I have to convert it into liters. So this is definitely a multi-step problem. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out how many milliliters of water she drinks in a day. So I've multiplied 225 times 8 and get 1,800 milliliters. Putting that number in my place value chart, I have 1,800 milliliters for one day. Now I'm going to have to change that into weeks. So a couple things we can do here. We can either change this into liters right now and then multiply by 7, or I can multiply this number by 7 and then change it into liters. But because the numbers are getting pretty big, I'm going to go ahead and convert this number, milliliters, into liters. So she drinks 1.8 liters of water every day. So then I'm going to take 1.8, I'm going to multiply that by 7 to get my answer. So when I multiply these numbers, I've got one decimal place, so it goes on the island, and it goes there to Hawaii, I think. And so he goes away. I multiply without the decimal, and then I bring that decimal back, and it goes right there. So overall, Morgan should be drinking 12.6 liters of water during the week. Looking at problem number 14, Aaron has a water bottle. It holds 665 milliliters. Dylan is carrying 2 water bottles that each hold 0.5 liters. They're asking who carries more. So what I did here is I put my numbers in the place value chart. This is 665 milliliters. This is 30.35 liters. Okay, so that's the difference there. So I have 2 bottles of 0.35 here and here, and together that would make 0.7 liters. And Aaron has 665 milliliters. So based off that, I can see that his 2 bottles would be more than her 1 bottle. So the model on this was do a part whole model and then combine those and compare the 2 different sums. So Dylan then, if you compare those two, 700 minus 0.700 minus 0.665 is 0.035 liters, or if you convert that to milliliters, it is 35 milliliters. Looking at number 15, Sarita is selling lemonade, 300 milliliter bottles, and she made 2 batches of lemonade. And each batch has 4.6 liters. So again, you have milliliters and you have liters that you're comparing. How much is she going to have left over after filling her bottles? So to do that, I drew a model, just a picture model. This is the batch, one batch, 4 6/10 liters, and that's 1 bottle. Terrible picture, but that's 1 bottle and has 300 milliliters. So I have 2 batches, so I did a part whole model. That's my part, this is my whole. I end up with 9 2/10 liters. I change that or convert that into milliliters because each bottle is holding 300 milliliters. So I end up with 9,200 milliliters by shifting the decimal point over, multiplying it by 1,000, because changing from liters to milliliters is a factor of 1,000. And then I end up with the problem 9,200 divided by 300. So 9,200 divided by 300, I've done the algorithm for you here. 300 goes into 923 times. I have 20 left over. I bring down the 0, 200. 300 goes into 200. Again, 300 goes into 200 0 times, so looks like she can make 30 bottles of 300 liters, and there'd be 200 left over. Problem number 16, Kelly's got a bucket. There's a picture of a bucket. The bucket, she's going to fill up a barrel. The barrel already has some in it. It has 5.2 liters in it already. So how many buckets will it take to fill up the rest of the space? I've drawn my part-whole model. Comparison, but it's more of a comparison bar. The whole barrel holds 25.5. You have 5.2 liters already full, so I compare those and I end up with 20.3, 23 tenths is the volume of the rest of the barrel. So 23 tenths for the rest of the barrel. Each bucket holds 800 milliliters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually convert the 20.3 liters, and I'm going to change that into milliliters by multiplying it by 1,000. And that will give me the total number of milliliters in there. You could also divide by 0.8 liters if you wanted, but since they already gave me milliliters, I thought I would do it that way. Looking at that, you have 20,300 milliliters divided by 800. Goes in 2 times, 1,600, 430 left over. Bring down the 0. 4,000, so there are 3,000 milliliters left over after she's filled the bucket. But they're asking us what's the least number of buckets needed to fill the barrel. So you'd have to round up 25. If you only fill 25 buckets, there's still a little bit left over. So you'd have to round up to 26 buckets. Final problem on the page. Tammy's making 5 batches of punch for her spring school carnival. The recipe for one batch uses 1 liter of orange juice, 550 milliliters of lemon juice, 2.6 liters of soda water, and 2 750 milliliter bottles of apple cider. How much punch will she make? Pretty complicated problem because you've got a lot of different variables in here. You've got orange juice, lemon juice, soda water, apple cider, and you've got different amounts and different measurements of each one. So we've got to unpack the problem. So I've drawn a whole model for the one batch. You can see I have my orange juice, lemon juice, soda water, and apple juice here. I have 1 liter of orange juice, 550 milliliters of lemon juice, 2.6 liters of soda water, and 2 750 milliliters of apple juice. Okay, our choice here is to either convert all this information to liters or to milliliters. I'm just going to go with liters because that's more of a standard unit of measurement. So I'm going to change every measurement to liters so that way I'm adding like numbers. I've drawn a place value chart, and I've placed in the place value chart my 550 milliliters of lemon juice and my 750 milliliters of apple juice. So changing both of these numbers into liters, I get 0.55 liters for the lemon juice and 0.75 liters for the apple juice. So now I'm ready to add everything together because I have everything converted to liters. Super important that you make sure you line up all the decimal points in the right space so you're lining up the numbers where they need to be. I'm going to always draw columns to go with that and 2 place value holders to match where I don't have a number. This right here is my 0.75 liters of apple juice. I've got 2.6 liters of soda water, 0.55 liters of lemon juice, and 1 liter of OJ. So I'm going to add all that up together now. So I've added all that up. I got 5 and 65 liters of juice total. So the next part of this, remember that we had to, that was only one batch, and we're going 5 batches. So the next part of that is to multiply this number here by 5 to figure out how much total punch she made. So when I do the multiplication, I end up with 28 and 25 liters. So the answer for this question is she will make 28 and 25 liters of punch. Yum. That punch is not as good as math.